Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well and is happy and go lucky right now. um, I just caught a new species on my trail cam. I think it is a young possum. I don't think it's a big rat. But there you go. Oh, was beginning to think something was wrong. Wonder where everyone is. Oh, where is everybody? Yeah, here I am. Here I am, Verna. Um, Yeah, I don't know where everybody is, but we have Verna's Vase Place in blue with a little wrench. She's a moderator. Oh, Steve just came on, another moderator with blue with a little wrench, and PJ's here. Good evening, PJ. She's a member. We need to set a date for our next thing. And Erica, if you're on here, you need to send me what you're making, if we're making that. All right. I'm gonna look at my calendar for October. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there is a Cook With Me Live. You become a member. We're called Katrina's Kits. And we do Cook With Me Live. You in your kitchen, me in mine. And we make something every month that is tasty and fun. And will be doing fried chicken with spaghetti sauce casserole if Erica sends me stuff, the recipe. Otherwise, I'm going to have to look it up. And what else did we say? Oh, mozzarella sticks, because we're frying things. We're going to try it, guys. I've never made those. Anyway, there you go. So PJ, let me know, and any other members on here, let me know if there's any time that does not work. The week of the 25th and 20th, the weekend of the 25th, 26th does not work for me. So any other weekend, we are good for that. I think we've been doing Sundays, but Saturdays are fine too. If we do Saturday, I think if Erica's around, we have to do it a little later. So there we go. All right. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, Sue says I'm not late. I wanted to make sure I got here after Katrina. Well, thank you. Thank you for your consideration. Oh boy. Joy's here. I'm here, she says. Welcome, Joy. I hope you're doing good, and I hope you don't have smoke. We had smoke for a couple days, and we had rain today. It seemed to have knocked it out. Actually, we had a little bit of wind first and then rain. We had wind yesterday. PJ's birthday is the 10th. Happy birthday, PJ. So does that mean you do or don't want to do it that weekend or the weekend before? Let me know. Give me half the information. We need the rest. Happy birthday. All right. And don't be left out. You too can be a kid. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Everybody saying hi. And Vernon says, oh, hope your birthday is blessed. Absolutely. Same from me, PJ. Fry some dill pickles. I have done this. And I remember when I was introduced to dill pickles, it was not dill pickles, introduced to fried dill pickles, and they are delicious. It was the same time that this same person from Mississippi introduced me to boiled peanuts. Why would you do that to peanuts? There's my input for those two items. Fried pickles, those are breaded, very good. Boiled peanuts, no. Oh, we got a few birthdays. Who else's birthday? PJ says, I gave a friend 2 ducks. He gave me 2 quarts of homemade dill pickles. That works. That's a good trade. Who else's birthday? Dawn's here. Welcome, Dawn. Dawn, I want to know how your processing went. All right. Oh, PJ, Brad, and Kelly. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Oh, PJ loves boiled peanuts. You can have them all. Boiled peanuts are okay, but roasted, salted, and sweetened are much better, John says. I can do without the salt. I think if you're doing sweet, you don't need salt. You guys remember the honey roasted peanuts that you used to get when you flew, and then now they don't do that? You guys remember that? Those were the best ones. They should sell that kind. Yeah. Joy says we had smoke for a couple days, pouring down rain right now. We got it in the morning and up till like 3 o'clock. And then we don't have it. And then I think we're going to get it again tomorrow and Wednesday. And then Thursday is supposed to be dry, unless it had changed. Steve says, if you do fried pickles, do this sliced chips, not as spears. Yeah, I've never seen the spears done that way, but yeah, you just slice them and yeah. All right, Verna says, I don't really like boiled peanuts. I guess that is about the only way I don't like peanuts. Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would you do such a thing to a peanut? I feel the same thing about ketchup. Why would you do that to a tomato? Lots of people love their ketchup. I understand. I know, Steve, they sell honey roasted peanuts, but not the kind that used to be on the airplane. The kind that used to be on the airplane had like something special to it. I don't know if it was altitude, some extra ingredient in there, but it was so good. Yeah, Verna, I'm not a ketchup fan. Oh, Dawn, you didn't do it. Okay. After it cools down. If it's hot, yeah. You ordered 3 tamuks and need to dispatch the mean New Zealand, but okay, good. I don't follow like all the different rabbitries. Cox Rabbitry had a really interesting video on keeping them. Awesome. 90 to 95. It is almost October. I should not be doing that. Joy, you're coming in late with I love ketchup. Oh my goodness. Okay. No ketchup for PJ either. All right. Well, I don't know. Joy, you can have all of it. All right, BJ, I need an answer on whether that means you're requesting a weekend or you're requesting a weekend that we not do it. But Buster's here. Hey to all. Ketchup goes on meat and liver, and that's it. Ugh. Well, you can have that too. You and Joy can get together and sip your ketchup. You'll take it. All right. Buster's listening while feeding. Awesome. No prep. So that was just a statement. It's your birthday on the day. I thought you were like, but it's my birthday, or it's my birthday. All right. Meatloaf. Not all meats. Oh boy. I know that's a very common thing to put on meatloaf, but I am not in agreement. Okay, Dawn, you get Dawn and Steve and Joy can all get together and have meatloaf with ketchup. Barbecue sauce. I agree with you, Berna. All right. So we are here. We are doing good. We are going to be talking about wintering, getting ready for winter. Okay, so any day from PJ. Got it. No, I don't like Thousand Island salad dressing. Why would you? Ugh. No, my dad loves it though, but he also loves mayonnaise. I like mayonnaise on broccoli and artichokes, and like it can be mixed into a potato salad. That's it. Yeah, half ketchup, which I don't like, half mayonnaise that I don't like, and then the other. I don't know. There's more than half, more than 100%. You got to have Thousand Islands in there. Anyway, all right, on to the topic. And getting ready for winter and winter prep, winter organization, winter thinking about what you need for winter. So one thing for sure is if you have something that freezes, make sure that you either are okay with it freezing or figure out a way to have it not freeze. I know for me, that means I have all of my faucets that go like this outside are frost free. So that means it drains at the bottom, so I don't have to worry about them. I do have 2 areas where there's like water pipes sticking up that are going to go somewhere eventually. And so I do need to cover those. I need to cover stuff over by the well, and then on the house. So don't forget your house. There are these anti-freeze things now, which mine has now, the faucets, but you just put one of those styrofoam things on there that you put on there, and then zip, and it goes on there, and do that. But these are things to start thinking about now. Insulating pipes. If you haven't insulated pipes, get some pipe insulator. It's easy to put on. I need to do that because my plumbing was done, and then like, do you want me to do that or you? And I'm like, oh, I can do it. And then I haven't. So there we go. Unseasonably hot for the next week at Verna's. Internet says October 18th is first freeze for dawn, but it's 90 right now. Dawn says, I like what I like and not what you like. Good thing we are not all the same. Depends on where you were raised. That is true, because Miracle Whip was not in my household. I don't understand Miracle Whip. But it's very much a Midwest thing. I don't know if I know any family growing up, on the West Coast that did that. Yeah. Acorn gathering update. Less than last week, but they are still dropping. And again, I'm kind of just doing that one tree. I haven't had a chance to go up and look for acorns for the tan oak, but with this rain, I expect a lot of acorns to be coming down with it. So maybe I'll make a trek up the hill this weekend. I know the bear is still active, and I figured out which pathway he's using out of that crossroads. Last activity was on the 26th. Today's the 29th. So there you go. Yeah. BJ, you're going to collect acorns and make flour with me? Do it. Do it. Am I going down that pathway? About the bear? I have gone, so it goes this way, and I've been going on this one to access. But it does mean I should probably put up a camera on the other side of the road or somewhere. I don't know where it gets. There's a pathway that's very clear that he went up, and it's the same pathway that he's going down, and I don't know where he goes from that. But it would be kind of cool to figure out like where his pathway is. But he hasn't been there since the 26th. So anyway, yeah. Goats are eating them as fast as they can. Okay. They don't have that annoying count going on now? What annoying count? I don't know what count you're talking about. Oh, I think I missed a comment. Unseasonably hot. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the weather is changing, and so there's things happening with that. We're seeing that with nesting birds shifting their season to be later and earlier, and all of that. So some of these predictions and ways to predict are not as reliable just because the weather's not as reliable. Yeah. Steve says maybe the bear is hibernating in your cabin. It's not hibernating because out and about, but it's definitely packing on deer weight. There very well could be a bear that goes underneath my cabin that is open enough to support that, and every time I go over there, I yell. I'm like the crazy lady up on the hill. Yeah. Steve says, I think it's something you can turn on and off in your settings. Number 1, number 2, number 3 for most active chatters. I turn that off. So that's something that's something for the live chats, where it says like the participant, it's like a purple crown or whatever, but it's like the number 1 chat, number 2. I think it's a little silly, so I just turn it off. So that's a setting that you do with when you set it up in I'm telling Karina, You set it up in StreamYard, and then when you go back to do your other setups for like the chat and stuff to do the live replay and stuff like that, it's on there. They've added like 3 other things on that thing. Yeah. Yeah. So that's where you go to turn it off. It shouldn't be on. It shouldn't be on any of these. I always turn it off. Dawn says, do you have any caves where a bear can go hibernate? So so that is, I do not know of any caves where I am. There are mine claims nearby-ish, for like not the ones that I'm going to be seeing probably, but further away. Who knows if someone tried to mine here and there is a cave somewhere, and they didn't report it or anything. But they have, I know someone nearby, a little ways away, that has had, there's a hollow in, I think, a Douglas fir, like a really old one, and that's pretty up high, and he's had a mama and cubs in that. They can be just in dense, thick areas, with logs crossed over and stuff like that, and that can create that. I don't know. And if you're in Oregon, maybe, and no bears, you can let me know. I don't know how strongly they hibernate here. Um, it only gets to like 15 degrees. There's wildlife out most of the winter, if not all of it. The most snow we had here, the snowpack last year was 5.5 inches, which is not very much. So I actually don't know um, how much they hibernate versus maybe something like torpor, but I'm unfamiliar with that. So somebody who's familiar with my area and familiar with bears maybe can give me some insight on that. Because we have winter, but it's not, I mean, it's below freezing and stuff like that, but it's not like a super harsh winter. So yeah. Dawn says, for my birthday, I ordered another trio of rabbits, but I won't get them until mid to late October. If I dispatch the mean one, hubby likes her. Oh, I would have 2 bucks and 3 does. If I keep her, then 4 does. Yeah, I would say I have 4 does, and that is probably the maximum I will have. I don't, for just me, I don't need 4. Um, if I'm selling them, then that's good. I have a freezer full of rabbits right now, which is why I haven't bred them yet. I will be breeding them. I'm going to be gone a little bit when I'm going to go to a bee conference. So I want whoever's watching my animals to not deal with, hey, they might have babies while I'm gone. So I'm going to wait a little bit and breed them here in probably a couple weeks. Um, and so, like, for me, I would say if it's just me and I'm not trying to sell them and I'm not trying to do anything like that, I would say probably 2 does and 1 buck is fine. I have 4 does and 1 buck, and um and that's good. So I'm also raising them to eat. So like I don't have different breeds. So if you had 2 different breeds or 2 different breeding things going on, then that's good. So like when mine get older, I will be saving back females and then finding a new male, just to keep the genetics, good. So my females will be babies from here, and then I'll find a new male. And so that's what will happen when things fully get changed over. Yeah, you can line breed with rabbits, so I wouldn't have to get rid of him just to get rid of him. But once he stops producing, then that would be the case. So anyway, she likes him too. Maybe he's a pet. Maybe she's a pet rabbit then. Joy is really tired of who? Killing your quail. I missed something, Joy. Really tired of, I don't know. If you typed it, YouTube didn't like it. But I'm sorry. What the rats? Ooh. Um, yeah, I am sorry. All you can do with that is protect them as much as you can. Um, I mean, you might put another layer of netting or something. Not, I mean, not they'll chew through netting. Maybe a layer of wire underneath them or something. Do you know how they're getting in? Because that's going to be what you want to know. Do you know how? So if you identify where they're getting in, that's going to be where you start. Yeah, not a bear, Brenda. Don said I have a breeding plan to test out at first, but don't expect to keep them all. I will have 2 different breeding things, up to 3. Yeah. So that's a good plan for just self-sufficiency. If you want to do that, you can do. I mean, you can swap them back and forth, and that's probably going to be enough. But yeah. Joy, give us more information and let us help you. Do you know where they're coming in? Yeah. So, okay, so talking about winter weather, we want to make sure that we have some sort of, if you have if you have something you need to heat, make sure you have appropriate electricity to do that and appropriate settings. So, like, I have a heat lamp. I was going to change it to a reptile lamp and test it. I probably should do that now while it's not cold yet. Um, I have what's called a thermocube, and it is something you plug into the outlet, and then it has 2 plugs on it that you can plug in things. And what that does is it only turns on that outlet if it gets down to a certain temperature, which is just above freezing. I don't remember exactly what it is. And then it turns it off when it gets up to a certain temperature. So it's a thermoregulated plug is what it is. And so I have those in the well house. I have that for the chicken waterer, and I have extras in case they go bad. But that's something to think about, is if you have that. Yeah. Okay. Steve says mine turns on at 35 and turns off at 40. That sounds familiar. I just didn't remember which one it was or what temperature was. Yeah. Oh, they're too smart. Joy. If you find where they're coming in, that's the thing to start, is find where they're coming in. A rat or a mouse can go through a hole. If they can fit their skull through, they can fit through. So, and their skulls are not that wide. So I would start with that. Make sure you have 1/2 inch hardware cloth. And then if you need to maybe double hutch, like put them in something, maybe you could do that. But like if they're grabbing them through the wire or something. But yeah, rats will not chew through. Somebody help me. What's the metal scrubby thing? Anyway, steel wool. They won't chew through steel wool, but if you put it in a hole that they have gone through time and time again, they know they can go through, and they will just push it through. So if that's the case, that's not going to help you. You need to figure out a way to keep it in place, because yeah, rats are very smart, but they do not chew through steel wool. They will pull it out or push it if they can, and if they know they have gone that way before. But I recommend going around and stapling up or connecting up 1/2 inch hardware cloth everywhere you can to cover anything that's less than that, or anything that's more than a 1/2 inch. Yeah. Dawn says I use Inkbird do-it-yourself heaters on the quail cages for waterers. Turns on at 35, off at 40, unless I turned the cage into a brooder at 99 degrees. Okay. Yeah, Steve says use steel wool and spray foam sealant. The spray foam, they will chew. But if it's like on the other side of the steel wool, then maybe they can not reach that. Then that's good. I don't know if the birds would peck that. But yeah, steel wool is a good choice as long as they can't move it. And unfortunately, once a rat sees its brethren get got in a trap, it will not get got in that trap because they're smart, like you said. Yeah. All right, next up is we talked about insulation for water pipes. We have insulation. If you do not have insulation in your floor, that's a really good thing to do for winter because coldness comes through the floor. If you want to increase your insulation in your attic, that will also be a good thing. I believe I have some walls that don't have insulation just because when some windows were put in where there wasn't anything before, there was no insulation. So I plan on looking at doing that. I don't know if it'll happen this year. Hopefully it will. But to do the blown in where they cut a hole from the outside, blow it in, and then patch it. And I don't even know how much that will cost, but it's not the whole house that needs it, just some. Yeah. So those are insulating things. Another thing, the other things that will help with insulation too is if you have insulated curtains. I I made my curtains. They're not up yet, but yeah, that's something. And then there is the insulation for the curtains. I used to be able to get it Joanne, so I have no idea where to get it now. Probably online, like everything else. But yeah, that'll help. Yeah. Okay. Joyce says I have traps out. They are not getting them anymore, no matter what I use for bait. You may try. There's two traps that I've not personally used, but my friend used, and he was having a massive rat problem. One is a bucket trap where they climb up it, and when they get it, it just tilts in, and then it's unfortunate, but which is what you're looking for. And if you have some water in it, they can't jump out. And it's a sad end of that process, but there you go. Another thing to maybe look for is there are electric, like battery operated, and it electrocutes, and that there's a couple different varieties of that. Trust me, we've we've been through this. Um, and again, I haven't used those, but my neighbor has, and maybe having some different types of traps will help with that. Um, yeah. Good luck. Good luck. Um, that's tough. Alrighty. Joyce says I don't do much for winter prep except to staple feed bags up to keep the wind from blowing in. Yep. So make sure you have. That's a really good point. Make sure you have some wind barriers for your animals. I have some blue tarps that are they're up for penne and risotto all the time because they're the back of their hutch, and it's up all the time for Percy. And then I'll put the when we have like a storm coming, I'll put it down for ravioli and rigatoni as well. So that is good to do. You know, you do a tarp, but you could put up feed bags. You can use plastic wrapped stuff. What you don't want to do with that is you don't want to completely wrap the whole thing because condensation is actually where the killer is with cold for a lot of animals. So you don't want the condensation to happen. You want it to be, you want airflow to be able to flow. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Verna, for putting the bucket mouse traps. Did they make them for rats too? Oh, that's do it yourself. Yeah, yeah. But you can make it for a rat too. And it's basically a teeter totter, and so you put the bait at the end, and then when they go out there to get it, they just teeter into the bucket. Yeah. It's worth trying a few different ones, different kinds. Yeah. I'm saying a lot. Why am I saying a lot? So what other winter prep things do you guys do? If you have different kinds of animals, what do they need? My animals don't really need anything except for water. So for my chickens, I have a heated one. And hi, Amy. Um, and that plugs in, and I'm able to use that, and it's fine. For the cats, I got one that was supposed to be like that, but it like you could make tea in that, and I don't like how hot it is. But I got it because you can plug it in automatically and like have it automatically fill for the water, and then you can actually have it, do that for the the heater. You press a button, but it just it's too hot. It's not quite hot as tea, but it steams. And I'm like, why is this so warm? And it evaporates too fast. So like, okay, well, do I want my animals to have water they can drink? Yes. Around here, I don't know that I need it. I turned it on last year. I turned it on like kind of overnight sometimes, and just for some days, and just make sure it was full, and it worked. And it gives a little bit of peace of mind that they have their water. But yeah, um, when it's freezy. And then for the rabbits, I actually have the bigger containers now. I have these containers, but I have bigger ones for the water now that are 2 quarts, which is a half gallon. They're rubber, so they squeeze. You can stomp on them. It gets the ice out, and then you just refill it. And now I do have the water out by the animals that is a frost free, and so I can open it and use it, and then close it, and it'll drain. So yeah, that is good. All right. Versus, boy, Lucy is needy tonight. She's acting like she does when storms are coming. Only difference is she isn't trembling. So what's happening? Is something else coming? Stay safe. Oh, Joy says I've made a do-it-yourself one. Didn't work at all. I caught more in my horse's water buckets in their stalls. It has to have water in it for it to work. Because if it doesn't have water in it, then they just jump out. But it has to have enough water that they can't push off the bottom. Yeah. Amy says, I was out husking walnuts and prep to wash and hang, dry, and shell later. Amy, I have a walnut tree. I haven't even looked under it yet. It's probably time, huh? Okay. Husking walnuts and prep to wash and hang, dry, and shell later. Okay. Very good. Do you use the husk for anything? Do you use the husks for anything? I think they're used for dye or something like that. Desiree's here. Hello, anime gamer creator. Welcome, welcome. You're here early. All right. Do rabbits chew up? Huh. Okay. Amy, yes. Not all of them. Um, Ravioli's last batch of bunnies, last litter. I think I was trying to say litter and batch at the same time. It wasn't working. I think one of them just decided, yep, I'm gonna chew it on this. I'm like, you have sticks. Why are you doing this? And it has chewed about that far down, and it'll be fine until, you know, in winter I'll maybe replace hers. But yeah. Um, so they don't, the rest of them don't, and she doesn't. She has not continued to chew on it since she had her babies. So I don't think she was the one chewing on it. I think it was one of her babies that was doing it. Yeah, Dawn says I picked up a black rubber bowl that listed toxins in the rubber so bad I had to wash my hands. I'm using stainless steel dog bowls. And that works. You just have to be cognizant of freezing. So like you wouldn't be able to stomp that out. Maybe you trade them. You like, oh, I'm going to take this frozen one inside and bring you out a fresh one. And that's fine to do. Yeah, I am using the rubber ones. She was home alone for a little bit. That makes sense. That makes sense. All right. Desiree's eggs, quail are laying again. 3 eggs. Good, good. Okay, yeah, that's another way, Dawn. Stainless bowls freeze, but you can dump hot water on them for a minute and it will fall out. That's true. Yeah. Stain for wood and dyeing things, Verna says, for the husk of the walnut. Oh, Joy says they just managed to lick the peanut butter off the PVC pipe. The bucket had water in it. So they just, are you sure you're dealing with rats? Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing in solidarity with your situation. I've been there before. Not with the animals, but with just they kept on getting into the screen and porch and of my old place and it was the whole neighborhood. The people behind us in the alleyway were feeding the birds. So what does that mean? There's bird seed all over the alleyway. Guess what? Rat explosion. Yeah. Couldn't get them to stop. Anime got a bag of chestnuts. At some point, I'm gonna get to processing them. Yep. There you go. Amy says I've made walnut ink and dried it and powdered it for fabric dye. Amy, you have done everything with the hulls. You have done everything. I feel like you are like you need your own channel. Chestnuts are very painful to step on. Yes. So the tree that's related to chestnuts that we have here, which is native, is the chinkapin, and it has that same spiky ball, but there's multiple nuts in there. The nuts are pretty small. Amy says, "Ooh, chestnuts! My chestnut tree is 2 feet tall, so it will be a while." Yep, yep. Oh, you found them on a walk. Yeah. Chestnuts are they're spiky. How do they not drive you crazy? Chestnuts? Oh, she has a 2 foot tall tree. Meaning it doesn't have any fruit on it yet. Yeah, it's food. You have to know the plant. Yep. Don says, "Oh, I know. Oh my gosh. Okay, yawning. I know. I'm yawning. Vitamin B deficiency sometimes. Okay. You made me think. I'm always yawning when I sit down and talk with you guys. I don't know. It's not that you're boring. Um, Vitamin B, huh? Oh, it's chocolate milk habit. I filled up to like here. Walnuts, I just embraced the suck. I got a nutcracker that I haven't used yet, and it's one of the kinds that has the bar that goes down. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to go and look now and see. Not now. It'll probably be once the rain has stopped. But yeah, 99.9% sure it's sweet chestnuts. I thought there was just American chestnuts. Is there another chestnut that is grown here? Joy says it's okay. They are just too smart and persistent. Oh, wow. We had to get galvanized garbage cans for quail feed. Wow. Yes, I can say frustrating. Yeah. Joy, I was yelling at them so many times. And they were not nice words. Yeah. So Verna, that's a good point. She is telling Anime, careful that I'm gonna revise what you said. Careful what you collected was not buckeyes. Um, and Anime says, yep, they got pointy end and needle spikes. So the whole thing is spiky, right? Like a cush ball. You guys remember cush balls, but spiky. The whole thing will be spiky, and you open that up, and then there's the nut. So make sure you have the right one, because buckeyes are uh, not something you should be eating. Okay. Even if you think it is, look it up. They kept going through your shoes. It was probably that then. Yeah. Amy, I'm not familiar with that. Grandpa's Goody Getter. Grandpa's Goody Getter. Oh, actually, I think that's what I got. Oh, I didn't get the expensive one. Does it work? Let us know. Let us know. I looked at that and I got a different one because it was I couldn't justify it for the amount of stuff that I had. Yeah. Buckeyes. Verna, are the Buckeyes where you live spiky? The Buckeyes, well, we don't really have them here, although one person in town has one. The Buckeyes I'm familiar with on the West Coast are smooth. There's a smooth shell, and then the nut itself is smooth. But there's different things, and we call things different things with common name. Amy says we have a small Buckeye, about 2 quarts of nuts so far. The eye of the nut is what's different. Okay. I mean, Buckeyes are edible if you super leach them, and they are, I think, I don't know if I don't know if they're lethal if you don't, but they'll definitely make you sick in a real way. That was a story. Any historians on here? It was somewhere in the I think it was California when California was Mexico, or it might have been Baja California. Somewhere over there, the natives were trapped by the Spaniards, and the women fed them buckeyes to escape. And I don't remember if it just made them sick or if they killed them or anything. Anyway, there's some sort of story. Okay, so Verna, I do not know that kind of buckeye because she's saying their casings are spiky. On the West Coast, they are not. So yeah, know what you're eating, I guess is what we should say. Joy says, who's laughing, I yell at them too, especially when they run out in front of me. Isn't that the most irritating thing? Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, MI Gardner had 50% off sale. So seeds are $2 a pack. That is good. That is good. I've not bought from him, but I've heard good things. Stock is limited. That makes sense. I've decided that unless it's something new and cool, I don't need to buy seeds because I have plenty of seeds to that I should already be using. But first, I have to get this garden expanded. All right. Desiree says, I got to try some beauty berries and a red chokeberry and a dogwood fruit too. All right. You know, I have heard that dogwood fruits are edible, and I have also heard that they're not. So I'm just going to put that out there. You guys do your own research. I did try one, and it tasted like kind of like a tomato sauce, and I did not die. So, but I feel like I need more information. Yeah. Have anyone ever heard of dry canning potatoes? Yes, you do not do it. It is a Rebel. It's called Rebel canning, which is not cool. And what happens is people just cut up potatoes and put them in a jar and put them in the oven. And all that does is seal the jar with condensation, which can be inside. There's no reason to do that. If you're going to can potatoes, use a pressure canner, please, and use the methods in the National Center for Home Food Preservation. National Center for Home Food Preservation. Or dehydrate them. I mean, you can dehydrate them and they'll last. But dry canning anything. People do this for beans, which you don't need to. Just vacuum seal your dry beans. You know, if you have dry beans or rice or something like that that's already dry, you can vacuum seal it in jars and that will be fine. No need to, I mean, anything. If somebody is telling you to oven can something, don't. It's not an accepted safe way to do that, and there's no reason. It promotes it is unsafe. It promotes condensation on the inside of the jar from what's in there. And a lot of things that they are dry canning or oven canning is just sealing the jars, which that just doesn't make sense. If you're going to use it that way, just use a vacuum sealer and you don't have that moisture issue. So there's my input. Amy says, Buckeyes have spikes here. I'm good with picks. If you want to, Desiree, if you want to put it on the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, we can show how things are different there versus here. And that might be helpful to people because there are different species of things. Here's a link for that. There are different species, which is the scientific name, and there are different varieties under a species. There's plants are very interesting, especially if they're like get into the horticultural stuff. So there's even further splitting. But people use common names interchangeably, and we just observed that your guys' is not the same as mine. They don't look the same. They're not the same species. They might be a subspecies, they might not be. But yeah. But yeah, put it in the Facebook group and we'll discuss it there. If you guys have not joined the Facebook group, I just put that link, and it's always in the description as well. And make sure you answer the questions and accept the rules to get in. Dawn says she reminded me I'm still waiting on some Baker Creek seeds. Can't remember what. 13 to 14 days with them is far too long to get the seeds. They're pretty busy. Yeah. Dogwood fruits are spiky with a large pit. Tiny amount of moderately sweet, mealy fruit pulp. Not here. Yeah, Dawn, what she says, what gets me is they dry can flour. All you need to do is you can put it in a jar still and vacuum seal it. But if you're dry canning it, and that means you're putting it in the oven, you're introducing moisture into that thing, which if it's sealing, it could be anoxic and you could be having some pretty harmful bacteria in there. So yeah, let me look up dogwood, see if I'm thinking of the same thing. Dogwood fruit. Pictures. That is not the same as what we have. Ours look different. What am I thinking of? Is it not dogwood? What's the white stringy stuff in? What plant has white stringy stuff in the leaves? Because that was an identifier. I don't want AI mode. Not interested. It's doing its AI junk. Okay. Okay, this one. Oh, there's an edible dogwood. I'm getting this information just now. So, looks like there's different kinds. Because the kind we have here does not look like that ball. It has individual kind of fruits. I'm not even seeing that on here. I'm gonna type in dogwood fruit in Oregon. Okay, well maybe it just looks different. I don't know. I'm done searching. So, yeah. Anyway, continuing on. Anime says some are edible and some are not, I think. You have to, yeah, scientific name. Exactly. Okay, you have the Japanese ones, which was very sweet and kind of like pawpaw mixed with lychee. Okay. Katrina, you do know everything. I don't. I don't. I really don't. I know a lot. I ask you guys questions out every single time we do a live. I ask you guys questions. There you go. Oh, okay. Dawn says no. Baker Creek ships cheap 13 to 14 days in the mail after they ship. Okay, got it. Okay, and Dawn says I vacuum seal my special flowers just to keep fresh as I use them. Yeah. Sourwood. Sourwood is from Amy. Sourwood. I am not familiar with that. Huh. Sourwood or sorrel tree? Only species in its family. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that one. Oh, snail meal. Yes. Verna says, yeah, different one. So we've established it's different. So the one that Desiree is talking about is Kusa dogwood, which is a Japanese variety. Yeah. Okay. And Verna put a link to the ones she's used to. We do learn a lot from each other. Absolutely, absolutely. That's what's great about this. I ask you guys questions, you ask me questions, we ask each other questions, you guys ask each other questions, and I like the community, so it's good. It's good. It is raining again. You weren't supposed to start yet. All right. I'm getting my French drain put in this week. He's gonna come tomorrow to measure things, and probably won't happen until Thursday since it's gonna rain tomorrow and Wednesday. But my French drain will be put in hopefully this week. Hopefully it doesn't rain too much so it's not too mucky to get back there. There you go. Desiree says the only reason I ate it is because the tree had a tag with a name on it. There you go. You knew what you're eating. Amy says sourwood has a white droopy pom-pom like stringy bloom. Interesting. Yeah, dogwoods can be identified. I learned this in my biology in my plant ecology of California class. Literally everybody calls it white stringy stuff. Like that's the technical term. It's not a real technical term, but that's what all the botanists call it. And if you take a leaf and you fold it in half and you go like this, it pulls apart, but then where the veins are, there's this white stringy stuff that stays there. So now you know. Yeah. So that is good. All right. So I think everybody who's on here is either in Oregon or in the Midwest. Am I right about that? Who are in the chat? Is there anyone watching creeping in like a warmer area? I want to know what you do for your winter if you have to put up special things for water for monsoon stuff or anything like that. My winter prep for the rain is pretty much the French drain. That's a long-term thing. And yeah. Farmel and Fords, welcome. You're Louisiana, huh? Welcome to the channel. And you're in Louisiana. What are you growing, or what do you want to grow? What do you want to learn? But yeah, we were talking earlier about getting ready for winter. So you might have some storm stuff to get ready for. Not necessarily winter, except for last winter you guys had winter. So that's a good point. Farmel, how does your winter prep look different now that last year you guys got snow in Louisiana? I don't know if you guys got snow. I don't know where you are, but yeah. How does that look different? All right, I'm going to zoom up here while we get answers. Verna says that is what's killing a lot of the U.S. ecodiversity, implanting things that don't belong. Yep. And Dawn says, rain? What's that? We are under half the state burn ban with all counties in bans. I have a next door neighbor, 2 out of 3 nights started a fire. Had to call the police. Oh my gosh. And the fire department. Yeah. As far as I know, we're still under, I haven't actually looked. We're probably not anymore, but as far as I know, we're still under the stuff that you can't use, like a weed whacker and stuff like that. Like you can't use like the gas powered ones. I don't know, but I think we're still under that. Animal and plants, Verna says. All right. Oh my gosh, 12-foot pile and 10-foot around fire. Oh my gosh. Dawn, yeah, I would maybe get a metal roof. My cousin did that when their neighbor was not quite fire savvy. Yeah. Oh, Farmel says not much snow, but hey, you know what? I don't know if you know Aaron down there, Hydros, but they got like a foot, didn't they, or 10 inches or something? They got more snow than we did here. All right. Thank you, Anime, posting in the group. Please send rain here. The pond is a foot low. Oh my gosh, Amy. Well, we got to get our water first. We'll get our water first, then we'll send it your way, right? All right. Farmel says mainly just have to watch for occasional frost. Are you 9B? Yeah. Well, who knows what this year is going to bring. I heard word that I heard word? No. I saw some projections that it's going to be another wet winter. So I don't know if that's true or not, but be prepared. Don says another neighbor said right now with the corn all dry, one spark in his whole town, an area goes up. Yeah. Yeah, and you guys aren't really used to dealing with fire, so I would I would hope that doesn't happen, but if it does happen, it might take longer to put out. Around here we're used to dealing with forest fires, so we already have during the fire season we already have the fire crews in place and the big bomber planes with the fire retardant and the helicopters that suck up the water from lakes and stuff and the buckets and all that. So we have that I'm going to call it infrastructure, even though it's not. We have those things here, whereas I don't think the Midwest has a whole lot of that. So it would be like the local people putting it out, I'm guessing, but hopefully it doesn't happen. Let's just hope for that. You guys are much more prepared for snow. I know when I was in the Midwest, that's something I was impressed with is the maintenance of the massive amount of snow machines out there, snow blowers, um, snow plows, more snow plows than I think we have here. Yeah. Okay. And Verna's saying the same thing. Amy, we may make up for it this year with all the snow we're supposed to get. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Pine trees are burnable, Dawn. Ooh, Desiree has eggs coming from Aaron tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck. Are you hand turning again or did you get a turner? Farmel says, seen someone ask about dry canning potatoes. Yeah, I would not trust that to be safe. There's a lot of people that rebel can, but there's a very, very, very high risk of trapping some very harmful bacteria in those jars. So, yeah, that's the win. Yeah. So Desiree, there's people that they call it dry canning and what it dry canning or oven canning, and that's not done. You're not supposed to can in an oven. All it does is it seals the jar. And what happens is because you're heating the air, you're getting moisture inside the jar. So that's something that shouldn't be done. If you are talking about doing pressure canning without water, that's something that's not. I cannot speak to whether or not that's been tested. You can check with the National Center for Home Food Preservation for that, because they do have their reasonings on why for the water. So I would not trust those jars personally. So hopefully you put water in them. All right, zone 9 for Farmel. Yeah, Amy says loved Aaron's short shoveling his roof. Yeah. All right. Dawn says we have massive farm fields catch fires every drought season. Farmers have their tractor stuff ready. Okay. Okay. I was unaware of that. Verna needs coffee. Oh no, and a headache. Goodness. Dawn says Monmouth, Illinois is burning right now. Farm fields. So I know when I was in the Midwest, they burned the farm fields on purpose, which is just crazy to me. But then that's part of the process of some areas, and I don't know why they burned it instead of just letting it be or putting it back into the ground without burning it. But yeah, but that's a planned thing, from what I had seen. Not saying this is now. Dawn says we have our own snowblower. That's good. Lucy, maybe acting up because you're feeling bad. That might be it, Amy. She was gone for much of the day and headache. That makes sense. Oh, yay. Desiree got her egg turner, but you hate your incubator. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah. Well, at least you have the egg turner. Amy says, my 13 littles are now residents of the top Dale Quail 3 stack, and the adults are not happy. Oh. Oh no, they've gone to a 50% egg strike just because the babies are too close. They're like, what is this racket? How funny. Dawn says, I think my rabbit cages are only 30 feet away from the pine trees. Well, let's hope no fires. Oh, so maybe there is a storm, Verna. She moved to her cave. Yeah. Dawn says, I wish I could do coffee at night. You can. It's possible. Um, True. They don't burn farm fields in droughts. Only in the spring after winter. I never remember when they burned them. I just remembered that it was like, and part of that is like the Midwest is has water and is so lush, and where I grew up, high desert. Central Oregon high desert, and so like people just don't burn things to burn them, and like you have to call in every time you're gonna burn something and say, "Hey, can I burn today?" And it's like, "Hey, I have a pile right here. It's this big. Can I burn it?" Yeah, yeah. Oh, post Renfest. Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. But hey, you got to spend time with your daughter, so that's good. Um, Desiree says I have a still air because that's what I could afford. Yeah, still air is not as good. Um, for sure. Yeah. And there's probably a way to convert that and just put a fan there, but I don't know what the most appropriate fan would be to put in there. Um, but I bet it can be done. Yeah. Farmel says if you're worried about bacteria or botulism, if you heat it for 10 minutes, you'll kill anything. If you boil it for 10 minutes and it is it's heated all the way through, that's a true statement, but you can also have it then in your jar and stuff. I wouldn't risk it. And people can do whatever they want to do. And I mean, even when I can and when I do that stuff, I always tell people to check me as well. And but for sure, I would read up on. I would at least, if you have not already, which you may have, I would at least look at the National Center for Home Food Preservation, which I just put the link up, and read about what they say there, because their stuff is actually like they come to their conclusions scientifically. And so I would read what they have to say about that on there, and then make your own decision. Um, yeah. Okay, Amy says, "Woo woo, Dawn sounds fantastic." What did I miss it? Oh, I have 10-day-old quail babies outside in a brooder and eggs on day 8 in the incubator. My goodness. My goodness. Good luck. And Dawn's out of here. Do her exercises. Have a good night, Dawn. All right. Yeah. So Desiree, you say you have a computer fan, but you're not sure if that would work. You It may be something that you experiment with when you don't have like active incubation happening in there. Um, but before your before your eggs come tomorrow, um, it, if you can turn it on, and if you haven't already, you may have already done this, and find out if there are cool spots or hot spots, just in the incubator, and you can put your eggs in those places accordingly, where it's the temperature that it's set for. Because what happens in a still air incubator is, because the air is not moving, it's not going to have even temperature. It's going to have, a hotter temperature likely where the heat source is, and a cooler temperature away from the heat source is typically what it's going to be. But if you move around a thermometer in there, put it in for a couple hours, see what it is, put it in for a couple hours, see what it is, and compare that to what and I'm not talking about digital thermometers. Gobi's pretty good, but like if you're just getting cheap digital thermometers, they're all gonna be different. Um, but yeah, that's something that's something that is a good thing to look into before you put your eggs in. Amy says, I was looking at canning potatoes so they don't sprout and go bad. Yeah, pressure canning is the only way I recommend doing it. And you have to, again, according to the National Center for Home Food Preservation, you have to peel them. And the reason for that is botulism. So yeah, do your research, make your own decisions. And if you're not following kind of set rules, make sure everybody who is eating that knows that, because you could be risking, you could be risking more than you think you are. So yeah, I would do that. Or hey, get a freeze dryer and freeze dry them. I have not freeze dried mashed potatoes yet, but I kind of want to, because having instant potatoes, that's good. That'd be really good. Having instant like a mashed potato, but sweet potato, that would be good. I wonder if you can, if how that comes out. Has anybody on here freeze dried sweet potato, like cooked but in like pieces? Yeah. Yeah, and Verna says, Amy, we can blanch them, slice them, and freeze dry them. Yeah, so if you're freeze drying, you have to pretty much blanch them, because otherwise there's just going to be brown coming out. Dawn says, Amy, the morning after I filled the incubator, a customer called wanting eggs. I'm saving him eggs for 7 days right now. Can't eat any eggs. Oh, Dawn. So sad. Desiree says, that's the worst, Verna. I get them all the time. Best I found is cold pack to the head. Oh, okay, headaches. I'm like, we get what? And allergy meds. Okay. Yeah, no cold packs for Verna. All right. So anime says the cool spots are the edges, sadly. So do you know the ideal temperature, like where that is? Is the center all the way almost to the edge, or is it like the center's too hot and then you have a ring of okay? Yeah. Yeah, like Vernon says, keep the eggs away from the edges. Amy says, Dawn, I can relate. I only have a handful of layers, so I have to space my egg use out. All my chicken eggs are purchased. I need to use my duck eggs, but I've had a buyer this summer. You know what? I I have no eggs. I have no eggs. Um, Overaptor may have laid one this summer. I don't think she laid any this summer. I think she's done. Um, Smilo laid part of the summer, and she has stopped, even though there's light on there. She's just stopped. Um, they're what, like 4 3/4, uh St. Patrick's Day will be their 5th birthday. So I'm not surprised that they're stopped. I was going to start chickens this year, so that they would lay through the winter, but those plans got delayed because other things got delayed, and those other things need to happen first. I have plans to do a high tunnel and to do quail in the high tunnel, and that is also dependent on other things starting before other things. So I'm just stuck. I have a neighbor that they have chickens, but I don't think they put light on them in the winter. But I've been getting some from her. This last time I needed eggs, unfortunately, it was when my parents were here, and I had to get them from the store because they were gone. But yeah, so much better to have them fresh. But yeah, I think she's done for the season, even though they have light. Or says, not yet, but we'll have to test it for you. I don't often buy sweet potatoes just because I'm so used to having them in my yard. It is really raining right now. But that's something that I will be growing, next year. All right. Oh, yeah. Amy says, you reminded me I need to pick sweet potatoes soon. Yeah, you probably do before it freezes. And Berna says, we'll do that in about a week, Amy. Not as good a haul as I had stolen from me last year. I remember that. Oh my gosh. Vernon says, my egg person sold me spoiled eggs. So now I get them from the store. That is unfortunate. Yeah. Yep. Farmel says, I don't want to convince anyone to do it my way. That's fine. Yeah. The way I see it, it's my duty to inform you, and then you can do things however you do it. It's my I will share what information I have, others will share what information they have, and people can make their own decisions based on that. Yeah. And Farmel says, I have a freeze dryer, never done sweet potatoes, mainly eggs. Yeah, I've actually never done potatoes. I've mostly done, I've done a lot of fruits, I've done a lot of rabbit. I've done some, I've done a lot of different like ingredient type things. Haven't done a whole lot of meal stuff, although when my parents were here, my mom finally got on the okay, maybe I should be prepared for something. So she brought a couple weeks of food, is what she called it. And we froze dry, little meals in bags. So they have some emergency rations now. So yeah. But yeah, I do actually still have some eggs, some powdered eggs from my birds, and from my quail. I have 1 or 2 bags worth, which was a full tray in the large. I have a large freeze dryer. So I should probably get those out and start using them. Yeah. Doesn't work if you have to separate the eggs, the yolks from the whites, but it's all scrambled together. But yeah, I have those, so I should get them. I've done raw. Yeah. Verna says, I love sweet potatoes and they don't go bad as fast as white taters do. Yep. Yep. Yeah, I would ask for your money back too. That's from Amy. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It depends who. Depends who, right? Anime says, I love Yukon Golds. Yeah. Actually, I did just freeze dry potatoes. I should ask my mom. We should have tried them. My mom had cooked cubed like this big potatoes, and I should have tried them, but I didn't. Because you can eat some things when you freeze dry them. It's really best just to eat them like they are, and because they don't really rehydrate well. And then some of them rehydrate fabulous, and some of them you have to know how to rehydrate them to make it good and all that. So yeah. Oh, Farmel had a good sweet potato year, 450 pounds. That is amazing. That is amazing. I haven't grown them here. When I grow them at my old place, I was limited on space, but I never had to plant them because I never got all of them, and I kind of never got all of them on purpose after I didn't get all of them the first time. I did finally get all of one color. I had 3 different colors in there. Because I didn't see any later. But I plan on doing here is I plan on, once I get my food forest stuff done, which some of you guys previewed. I had 2 videos go out instead of 1. So if you watch the one on food forest, guess what? It's coming out next week too. Vernon did a comment on there, and I was like, oh, this is not supposed to be up yet. So that will have stuff in there. But I'll be having it as a part of the food forest. And so it is a good thing to do then, not now, after things are fenced and after stuff like that is happening. So yeah. Yeah, Vernon says, oh my, that's wonderful. Yep. Desiree says, I'm so jealous you all have freeze dryers. And it is a lot of potatoes. Yep. So that is something that I haven't looked at recently, but it's basically $250 down. And as long as you have the $250, you can lock in a price. And then whenever you can pay whatever, whenever, as long as it takes you to pay it off with the harvest right. I don't know about the other one. There's like 2 other kinds now. I don't know if they have similar deals, but they should. I mean, it makes sense. But it was, you pay it off whenever you pay it off. And then once it's paid off, they deliver it. And during that time, if there are sales, then you just email them or call them and say, hey, can I have this new price? And they say yes, and they lower the price. So there's no downside as long as you know that you want one. So yeah. And Amy wants to know from Farmel, do you grow your own slips? And yes is the answer. Those slips are expensive. You buy them. Yes, they are. I would buy varieties the first time, and then from there, well, I didn't ever have to do my own because it just popped up. But yeah, then from there you can do your own. But if you want different varieties, which Baker Creek, I have to say, has some wonderful, wonderful tasting varieties. Yeah. Yeah. It was too many, he says. He or she. I don't know if you're he or she. It's okay. Desiree, keep learning, and it won't be long until you will able to get one. Yep. Yeah. So like I said, it's a $250 down payment, and then you just pay it off. And then once it's paid off, then like it's not a loan. It's literally layaway, where you, yeah, yeah. Okay. Desiree says sweet potato leaves are good for rabbits and quail. Yeah, they're good for us too. I have at least one video showing how I like to cook them. And they're good. I mean, they're not like special, I wouldn't say, as far as taste, but they're good. Yeah. And I noticed, Vernie, you put the link for Harvest Right. Thank you. That's the kind I have. I have a large, and you do have to have a designated plug, and it does have to be a certain kind of plug for that one. A medium and a small do not. They do have an extra large too, which is really big. But there's another brand that I don't remember the name of, but I did just see that Freeze Drying Supplies is starting to make materials for them. So Freeze Drying Supplies is a company. I don't remember what his channel name was. It used to be Retired at 50, and then it was Live Life Simple, and now it's Freeze Drying Community or Freeze Drying something. Anyway, he does a lot of stuff for that, and it's his company, and they are starting to make stuff that fit the other brand. So yeah, we can eat the leaves. They're better cooked. They're better cooked. They're not sweet. They're Desiree. They don't cook them with something. Is my suggestion. Kind of like spinach is like I personally wouldn't cook spinach by itself. But yeah. Yes, Amy, and they did redesign the Harvest Right innards to hold another tray, and she said that was pretty exciting innovation. So all they did is it's the same size, same shape, everything, and you can actually get the new unit to just unplug and plug it in. I didn't do that because I personally I kind of like that extra space. You're only supposed to fill them up to the edge anyway, but I overfill things. As long as it's dry, it's dry. But just a minute. So if you want to freeze something that's a little taller, there's no way to adjust that. And so I just haven't done it. If I start to be like in a business and I'm doing lots of something, thank you for your blessings. Then I would consider getting one just to put that extra tray in. But I mean, I have a large, and I don't need that much space. There's times where it would be nice, like if I'm doing a bunch of rabbit, or if I'm doing You know, like if you have a glut. So like we did a bunch of peaches before I left, and I have a lot of peaches. I have a lot of peach powder, and I really like the peach powder, and I need to use it more often. I really want to make Jello out of it. That would be really good. That would be really good. All right, and you have to scroll up. Anime loves spinach and soup. That's good. Yes, freeze drying supplies website. Thank you. Amy says sweet potato leaves are good in a multi-veg saute. And Malabar spinach. Malabar spinach I planted and I did not use as much as I probably should have. And Verna, have you freeze dried Malabar spinach? Because I wonder how that turns out with the mucilaginous stuff. And I know Farmel, you're at least interactively you're new on here. This is kind of how our conversations go. We go wherever it goes. The topic is supposed to be winter prep, but we go where we start with that, or we do it in the middle. We've kind of talked about it, and then we go to whatever we're talking about. And you haven't done the Malabar spinach. I would be curious to know how that turns out because of the mucilaginous stuff. If it needs like extra dry time, or if it's like, I'm just curious. Because I could see that being like a thickener, being used as a thickener, like you powder it and use it as a thickener, but it might turn out weird. I don't know. Good night, Amy. Thanks for coming. Thank you all for the great brain food. Absolutely. You as well. All right. Potatoes of all forms are inherently winter prep. That is true, Amy. This is a good point. In fact, I ran into one of my friends, and I guess they're kind of neighbors in a roundabout way. I went out to eat the other night, and they came in, and I'm like, "You want to join me?" So they join me, and that's happened several times where one of us joins the other one, and I'm like, we should plan this on purpose one of these times. But she said she has to pick carrots, so, and her dogs are helping with that. Yeah, but you're right. Root vegetables are a form of that, and for many root vegetables, it is a sweeter thing like carrots to leave them in the ground through a frost and then pull them out, and that will enhance the sugars. It doesn't really make more sugars, but it makes it taste sweeter. Yeah, it turns things into things. Okay. Vernon says not picking enough, not enough room to plant. Yep, not enough to worry about. Yep. Farmel says, I'm glad I stumbled on your live. This is a very good live. A lot of conversations, most lives, everybody just saying hi. Hi. We will say hi to you as well. Yeah, so I mean, I kind of have a format and I don't really. And sometimes we go off topic and that becomes a topic of the night, and we go everywhere. We literally go everywhere. I mean, we keep it into homesteading, usually. Sometimes it gets off. But yeah, I mean, I have a subject of the night, and sometimes we get to it, and sometimes I change my mind partway through because we're already talking about a really good topic, and that's going to be the topic. I did, because it is spring now. Happy spring! Want to get people thinking about winter, because depending on where you are, you have winter, and depending on where you are, you have different things to deal with. So I like to get people's opinions about what they need to do versus other people. So like Farmel, you're in Louisiana, and you're going to have storm prep that is different than the storm prep that me or someone in the Midwest would have. We still have storm prep, but it's totally different. Yeah. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. We do all sorts of stuff. And guys, hey, yeah, Farmel, you should have been here last week. You remember what we looked at last week? Shh, don't say anything. Those videos are coming out this week. So get ready for some interesting videos, and you guys know the surprise ending of tomorrow's. Keep it a secret until people see it. Tell them it's worth it. And then Thursdays is going to be the adventure part of the story. And I'm going to do a little series about game cameras or game camera, wildlife camera, trail cam, camera trap. Those are all the names. They're not all the names probably, but they are all names for the same thing. And I'm going to be putting together and not putting them out all at once. I'm going to kind of drip it through. I don't know. What do you guys think? But I will be putting together a playlist of an intro to that because there's a lot of information. There's a lot of information that. So I'm a wildlife biologist by profession, by trade. And so I have done camera trapping for a long time just as part of my job. And then I've done stuff personally and then I've done stuff on my property. And so I have a lot of knowledge. I have a lot of experience with that. And we are going to be doing that. I'm going to make a playlist that's very involved and have like intro, have how to set up a camera, have actually how to set it up out in the world, have, tips and tricks and stuff like that. So we are going to go into that. And I know some people may not consider that homesteading, but guess what? Knowing what's on your property, yeah, that's part of it. So don't tell people what's on there. Just tell them it's worth watching. Because you guys got to see the raw deal last week. Yeah, and what's funny, I got a card from my mom today, and she was thanking me for having a good trip and all that. And something she requests nearly every time I see her now is that I make bear claws, and we actually made bear claws in our Cook With Me live. I don't remember when that was. It was this year. But if you want to join the channel, we do a monthly Cook With Me live, and we did that one time, and you could rewatch that video and make it along with me. But I mean, it's a video. At that point, you can look back at past videos and cook along. But she requested bear claws, and so in her letter, she said, "When I asked for bear claws, I didn't know you were going to provide." Now you know. I said too much with that, didn't I? Anyway, yeah. And let's see, I've got to go up here. Yeah, Verna says, Farmel, this community is like that. Absolutely. Everybody's helping everybody. No politics, no religion, just straight homesteading stuff, helping each other do what we need to do. Yeah. And Verna says, that is why by their very nature, all homesteaders are preppers, but not all preppers are homesteaders. Exactly. We know how to grow seeds. We don't store them just to store them. We know how to grow them too. And foraging too. So yeah. Oh, Verna has about 11 more videos to post. Oh my gosh. It sounds like you had a good time. Good. They all sound good to you, Verna. Good, good. Oh, thank you for subscribing. Thank you, thank you. And pass it around. Yeah, so that's what we're doing this week. And then I'll re-put up the video that I accidentally put out today for next week. Next week, our live chat is going to be on. Let me make sure. I think next week our live chat's on Thursday. Where's the calendar? There we go. Yes, next week our live chat will be Thursday instead of Monday, so it'll be Thursday at 6 p.m. same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time. So that will be next week. And then, so the first Monday of every month, I have a bee meeting. So instead of the live that Monday, it goes to Thursday. So that's the only change. So that is next week. So that's something to keep track of. And I kind of want to do, and I don't know if I'm going to do this because really early morning is when my video comes out, but on Thursday, I kind of want to do a premiere. 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. Was anybody interested in, in me doing a premiere for the adventure video? And those who were here last week know what I'm talking about. Those who are not, go watch last week's. So if people are interested, I'll do it. If people are like, it's a little early for me, or I'm working during that time, then I'll skip that. But I was thinking about doing a premiere, which would, all that means is that I would be on the chat 6 a.m. my time, Verna. That's when my videos go out. I don't actually hit the button at 6 a.m. because I'm usually still sleeping. But yeah, so that's 9 a.m. your time, right, Verna? Yeah, no, there you go. 9 a.m. your time. So I may or may not do that. If it happens, you'll know, and if it doesn't happen, the video will still go out. All the premiere means is that I would be in the chat, and it would be a live chat. I would not, I won't be talking. I'll be chatting in the chat. So I'm thinking about doing that. I'll think about it. Nobody seems too excited about 9 o'clock Verna's time or my time, 6 o'clock. But it is a fun adventure. So, yeah. All right. So, is anybody else doing any preparation for winter? We heard, I believe it was Amy said that, maybe? Putting feed bags up for the rabbits, and I think quail too. Okay, Verna said I would love it. I'll do it. Make me get up early. So Amy said she hangs up feed bags as wind protection for her animals. I don't do feed bags, but I do tarps that hang down in one direction because that's really the direction the wind comes from. They're pretty protected by the forest and by the chicken coop on the other sides. And we talked about water. We talked about your house, your water. So water faucets outside, all of that. Insulation. Is there anything I'm missing? I'm sure there is. Sure there is. Power outages. So power outages is something that can happen in the wintertime for a lot of different things. And Verna put her channel up there. Awesome. Verna does lives on Saturday mornings and Wednesday evenings. And she does apartment setting, homesteading. So she knows and knows tons about herbs. So ask her questions about herbs. Anyway, so I don't remember what I was saying. I saw that and I was like, oh. Oh, if I was forgetting anything with the wintering. And so part of that's power outages. And when you have power outages, if you have things like baby birds, you have some quail chicks or some chicken chicks or other chicks, that is something to consider, either having some sort of battery backup solution or to know a few ways of doing things. One, if you have a gas stove, you should know how to light it. And I have a video on that. Let me just look for it. If you have a gas stove, then you will be able to light it in a power outage. I no longer have a gas stove, but if you don't know how to do this, you should know how to do it. Gas stove in power outage. So that's one. And then another one is if you have chicks in a brooder. So you can heat no heat them, but you can provide heat for your chicks in a brooder, or in an incubator by a couple ways that's not reliant on electricity. One is to boil water. You can do that if you have a gas stove. You can light your gas stove and use it. If you don't have a gas stove, you can make a fire. Not in your house, please. Maybe in your fireplace, but make a fire, put a pot over it, and do that. Or have a camp stove, so you can boil water. Put that water in, say, a milk jug, or if you're putting it into an incubator, maybe a smaller water bottle. Wrap it in a like a dish towel, put it in you with your birds. They'll snuggle up to it just fine. I had a person that bought a bunch of baby birds, and I warned her because she was going on a trip um, to her mom's and then was going to go back, and she wanted to pick them up on the way there instead of on the way back. I'm like, okay. And they're like 2 or 3 days old. I think they're like 3 days old. And you guys know those hot water bottles like that people put in a bed, usually in movies. I don't know if people do that anymore, but she had a modern one. She did that, and what she did is, when she stopped she stopped a few times for gas, or stopped at gas stations. And what she would do is she would dump that water and then fill it up, with the coffee and tea thing at the gas station. And they did fine. They just kind of snuggled down on it, and they did great. So that's something to consider, is a hot water bottle, like that, or a water bottle, like a plastic water bottle wrapped, in a little bit of insulation. I have put really, really fresh 1 or 2 day old quail babies into a cooler. It was just overnight. It was an 8-hour power outage, but they were not going to last the night, and I didn't have kind of the stuff I should have had. But this worked really well. I boiled water, and I put a gallon of boiled water into a cooler, wrapped the gallon jug with a flour sack towel, a dish towel, and I put the non-slip stuff that you put into the incubator for quail on the bottom of that. And I actually didn't give them any feed because it was at nighttime, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just going to put a little bit. I'm going to put one water thing in here, and I put them in there, and I, of course, propped it open. You don't want to close it because they're going to run out of air. But I propped it open about that much, and they were perfectly fine in the morning. So that works great for emergencies. And then the other thing is to get the hand warmers, the ones that you crack open. You don't crack open, but you crack them, and then you go like this for a while. And those are really good to put in your incubator if the power goes out, and they will keep it warm enough. Now, don't put it on an egg because they do get hot. Put them near these things. But those are some other things that you guys should know, and have. Your hand warmers. If you have chicks, they're good to have. And then a way to heat water. So those would be good to have access to or awareness of, and go from there. So yeah. Let's see. Brenna says, I'm in all electric apartment. If I lose power, you need lots of hand warmers. They make big ones. Did you see the big ones they make? Yeah, I'm all electric, so that's not great, but I do have my battery banks, and I did get my extra batteries today. So I have solar, and the battery banks are the batteries. I just bought the maximum that fit under 2 inverters, just because I was a little concerned about winter. And in all honesty, I have a way to heat. One, it should work, and then it should feed from the batteries. You turn off things you don't need, that's fine. I don't use that much electricity. I do have a pellet stove that is electric, so it's electric. My regular heater is mini splits. So there's some mini splits, but then I do have this fireplace, and I do have wood, so I'll be okay. I have wood it's dry for now. but those are good things to have. So good point. If you're in all electric, make sure that any emergency heating that you have doesn't have carbon monoxide spewing out everywhere, that it's safe to have inside. I know some people have, had an oven open and the heater goes out. That's not exactly safe. There are people who have done it and they've done it okay, but that's testing things. Make sure carbon dioxide detectors, smoke detectors are up to date and all that. So I don't know, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's see what you guys are saying. Yeah, Verna says, good to have a case of thermal hand warmers on hand in case you lose power and have incubator going or brooder. Exactly. Oh, Desiree reminded Grafted Branch I'm live. Yeah, I saw that he just went live. It's fine. We can fight. Mr. Landfill says raid. I don't know why, but welcome. You convinced Matt to come on. Hi, Matt at Grafted Branch Homestead. Trying to move in on my turf time. No, you're fine. I have not seen one of yours in a while, so sorry. I hope you're doing well. I hope your birdies are doing well. I know you're building things, so that is great. Yeah, so we were talking about what to do for winter. What do you have to do in New Mexico for winter? Do you guys get I know like last year you got some snow, but I don't think you get a whole lot. Do you guys have to plan for like monsoon? Yeah. All right. That's so funny, Desiree. All right. Everybody's saying hi. Oh, usually never free Monday evening. Happy to caught you. While we're on here, Matt from Grafted Branch is also a member. We are making stuff this month. Do you have a weekend day that you are free? That is not the 25th or 26th that you would like to join us. We're doing fried chicken. I'm doing rabbit. And we are doing spaghetti squash casserole if Erica gives me the recipe. And we're going to try mozzarella sticks. So you can message me later if you want. But we're looking at a weekend day, not the 25th, not the 26th. I think anything other than that works. And the 10th is PJ's birthday, which I think we lost her already. I think she went sleepies. I think PJ often falls asleep to us. She gets up early. All right. Yes, I do have places outside where I can have a fire and cook. Absolutely. Yeah. No, don't worry about me in that department. And also, when you have freeze-dried food and canned goods that don't require extra heating, those are perfectly good. So like I have, chili and soup and all sorts of stuff canned, and then I have plenty of rabbit freeze-dried, which by the way, I have not forgotten about you, Berna. Yes. And yeah, so there's a whole bunch of food that I have that I won't have to reheat. My well is good. I have an alternate water. I stored water, all these things. If you have a well, have a way to get to water. Have a way to heat that water. There you go. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Very, very important reminder. There we go. Oh, you rated from Grafted Branch. Oh, well, thank you for coming by. Oh my goodness. You stopped streaming when she reminded you and came here. Oh my gosh, Matt, you're awesome. You're so awesome. Yeah. Well, that is nice. Thank you. Okay, it's monsoon season right now and very wet. All right. We're getting rain today, and I'm supposed to get my French drain in this week. Hopefully Thursday. Hopefully it doesn't rain so much that it's too mucky to get stuff back there. But for those of you that remember what last year's rain was here and how much issue I had with the several artesian springs that popped up right behind the house, you'll be happy for me, right? Yeah. We're gonna put Grafted Branch's channel up there. Thank you, thank you. He's a good one to follow. All right, all right. So, Grafted Branch, Mr. Matt. You missed last week, and last week's worth rewatching. I'm just gonna say that, and this week's videos are they're gonna be pretty fun. So there you go. All right. Do you insulate where you store water? Where I currently have stored water is not insulated, but it also didn't break last year. So it should be okay. Should you? Yes. Do I? It needs better insulation. I also have, I mean, I have water in a couple different places. So that's another thing you can do. If you are canning, doesn't matter if it's pressure canning or water bath canning, your canners do best if they are full. And I have not been practicing this myself, but maybe I should. If you can and you don't have enough, oh, I'm only needing to do this many. Well, if you do more than that and you can water, then that water is sterilized. So you can use it for wound care. You can use it for, if it's already sterilized, it's already there, right? You can use it for wound care. You can use it for emergency drinking water. It's already on the shelf. And hey, the good news if you need a jar, you just drink the water or throw it out, but you might as well drink it. And so that is something I probably should do more of, but right now I don't. I have some adjustments I need to make in my pantry, and I'm not going to use the space to store water. But that would be something like I would be okay with, putting a band on and stacking, which you're not supposed to stack your jars, but if it's water, I would be okay with it. But yeah, water is an interesting thing because even though you have water everywhere, it's water everywhere, not a drop to drink can be very true. Yeah, and even though my house is up off the creek by quite a bit, I did not think I would be threatened by water for my house. And last year, which is the first year I was at this property, proved me wrong. So that's why the French drain is going in, and the French drain is going to be in hopefully this week. And I keep saying this, and I told the guy who's doing it, I said, I want to over engineer this thing. I said, I want it to be ridiculously bigger than it needs to be because we're not going to dig in and do it again. So cross your fingers. And this last year was a really big water year. So yeah. Yep, got sterile water on hand then. Exactly. Exactly. And Verna says, I have distilled water that I drink and makes drinks from, won't drink tap water here. That is a very good point. That is a very good point. So knowing your water quality is really important for many reasons. One, you know what's in it, you know, when I was in Illinois, that was my first experience having to I always said I would never buy water. And so we got a Brita filter and it did as good a job as a Brita can do, which is pretty good, but there's still some stuff it doesn't get. But when we were on boil order 5 times in 2 years, no. No, thank you. When neighboring towns have to look at the radioactivity of their water. No, thank you. Yeah. Here I know my water's good. It's acidic, which means I have a pH up in the well house. There's I do need to probably change or look at the UV light. It has a UV light for the bacteria because it's very shallow. And it also has it has slight aluminum. So I have a reverse osmosis under the sink, meaning I'm fine to drink the water from anywhere in my house or on the property, just knowing that it has a little bit high aluminum. And for most of the time when I'm drinking water, I get it out of there. Yeah, when I fill up the jug I use for the rabbits and carry it over, yeah, I'll drink some out of there. I'm fine with it, but I know that there's a little bit of aluminum in there. So knowing what your water is like is good. And then when you go into town or you go into the next town, the water's not great. um, yeah, if I go out to eat, unfortunately, I never choose water anymore because the water here is so good that it just I can taste all the yucky stuff in the stuff in the restaurants. Anyway, all right. Brenna's listening while taking Lucy out. Well, I hope Lucy has a really great walk. Yeah. How does Desiree get her quail to stop itching her scab? What is a scab from? And where is it? You're probably not going to get it to stop itching a scab. Maybe moisturize it somehow. Where is the scab first? Because we want to know where it is. And you can use the non-pain relieving Neosporin on birds. You don't want to use anything with pain relief because it's I don't know if it's poisonous or toxic, but it's not good news for most animals, for birds or for rabbits. Yeah, but where's the scab? Because if it's somewhere that maybe she can't reach, maybe putting some Neosporin would hydrate it, and maybe I don't know. I don't know what else you would put on a bird. That's the thing. Like I know that that's okay to put on a bird, like a lotion. I don't know about that if it would be okay. Stay away from avocado oil. Yeah. Oh, this is funny. So I do this on StreamYard, and people who have a question mark, it has a little question mark in the corner, as if I can't see the question mark. Interesting. The other quail scalped her head. Still haven't found the culprit. Would Vaseline be okay? My concern with putting anything on it, including Neosporin, is whatever else is in their environment. You have them inside, right? Or do you still have them inside? If they have a sand bath, I would not want them to be in the sand bath with any of that because they would just stick to them. And I don't know about vegetable oil, but definitely not avocado oil because avocados are deadly to quail. I know 2 people that have lost quail to avocados. Yeah. Mr. Landfill, thank you for stopping in. Be safe, everyone. Gotta log out. All right. Well, welcome. And yeah, check out the channel and come back next week. We're doing it on Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And because I have a meeting on Monday. So next week's is going to be on Thursday. So yeah. Okay, she's inside. Okay, so you have her in a hospital cage. Oh, thank you, Mr. Landfill. Thank you. Pass it on. And get excited for this week's videos. Yes, I have bee meetings. It's the first Monday of every month. I have a bee meeting, and so I'm a part of the Southern Oregon Beekeepers Association. I do not yet have bees. I do plan to get bees in the spring. I do need to do some infrastructure type stuff first, but yeah. That is what it is. Yeah, anime, I'm not going to advise on the use of oil, but definitely no avocado oil. So I would maybe research that a little bit. But my thinking behind this is that when you have a scab, it dries out everything, and so that's probably why it's itching. Um, and if it's moisturized, it might be okay. So it might stop the itching, but I don't. I would research that. I wouldn't just go by what I say because I'm. If this was a test, this would be my answer. That's what I'm giving you. Matt says, "How cool!" Bzz. Yep. Not a big fan of avocado. Desiree, are you human? I love avocado. An avocado guacamole is one of the best things to freeze dry. Like it freeze dries beautifully. You have to have the acid in it. You have to have the lemon or lime. But it freeze dries beautifully. It reconstitutes immediately and beautifully. And oh my gosh. Yeah, there was a big sale. I doubt I'm going to come upon that here because one, I don't watch the sales here for that kind of stuff. And two, I doubt they have those sales here. But when I was in California, there was, I don't have very much left of what I did. There was big sales. Actually, they might here. I need to start looking at that. When is Super Bowl? Is it February? Tells you a little bit about me. Because around that time, they start having sales on everything related to guacamole. And if you get a bunch of avocados, you can make a big batch of guacamole and then freeze dry it. And it's really, really easy. Yes, Matt, it's really, really good and it's really, really easy. It tastes exactly like it did going in. It has exactly the same texture. Not everything does in a freeze dryer, but it's really good. Yeah. So that just reminded me of that. And you have different, you can do whatever recipe you want. Just make sure you have the acid in it because otherwise it'll turn brown based on other people's experiences. I just took other people's advice and make it like I usually make it. Well, I had to use lemon instead of lime because I didn't have lime. But yeah, I do miss my lemon tree. Anime says it's the texture. I'm texture sensitive with some stuff. I'll eat it when I won't go out of my way to buy one. It tastes weird, probably because you don't eat it. I mean, it's something a lot of animals shouldn't eat. So there you go. Oh, the short walk for Lucy, Verna. I just said your name weird. All right. Well, Matt, since you came all right over here, is there anything you want to talk about? Because usually we're off by now, but you came over, you stopped your channel for me, so I better talk with you, right? Yeah. Anyway, says I don't think I've ever said I'm autistic. That's all right. That's all right. You're doing stuff. You're good. Yeah. So Matt, let me know. Let me know if there's a day that works better than other days. I'm going to put out a poll. You're just enjoying. Okay. I'm going to put out a poll probably to see what works best for people. I think any time except for that one weekend, the 25th and 26th, I think is what it is, or 24th and 25th. Anything but that weekend works for me. Okay, I'll put a poll. I'll pull a poll. Yeah. So, all right. Well, is there any other weather stuff that we should talk about before we head off? We hopefully I don't know if Joy's still on. Hopefully Joy and I are out of the smoke. And pull. Yep. And so hopefully we're out of the smoke. I'm hoping we get very little rain this week and then later it can do its thing. And that way I can get my French drain in. And then just prepare for here at least probably lots of rain and some cold and snow. So I'm in a good situation. I don't if I don't have to go out, I don't have to go out. I work from home and yeah. Don't forget you have to get yourself ready after you get your animals ready. Exactly. Good reminder, Verna. Good reminder. Yeah, cover that firewood pile that you've been working on so it doesn't re-wet itself. Yeah. So, all right. Was there any last minute questions? You have to go out and feed your rabbits and such. Yep. Yeah, so that's something to keep track of is how much feed you have and always have enough for you to stay home a week. That's feed for you and for your animals. Yeah. Desiree says, my chickens have grown huge. I'm going to have to move them into a small hutch soon. That sounds good. They would probably love to be on the ground because I think you have a yard now, right? You should build them a coop. I built them a coop. If you remember my old property, I built them one. I had three birds. I was in the city, but out of a pallet, and that was good enough for them. And it would have fit more too, but it was good enough for them. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll give another minute while I finish my chocolate milk that it was only this full. Verna says, I figured for winter you should have an extra 50 pounds of feed just in case you can't go out to get more. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That is good advice. It's always good to have at least an extra bag, and it depends on what you have, right, and how many you have, and all of that. But just plan for a little bit extra. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I think we had a good conversation tonight. Um, yeah. So tomorrow's video will be the beginning of the story of what we talked about last week, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It should be good. Um, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I need to decide on a name because I think I can probably not use roadkill in the name. How about this? Are there alternate names for roadkill that would be the same thing that YouTube won't block? Um, I want to say roadside deer is what I have there right now, but I don't know. I don't know about that, guys. It just sounds weird. Um, anyway, let me know about that. Okay. Coop is currently on hold till we save up some money. Also got fixed the table saw. Rusty screws making it a 1-degree angle instead of 0. Okay, do you have a table saw or do you have a chop saw? Road bounty. Because if you have a table saw, you may remember someone that I used to be with that nearly cut his finger off. So make sure you know how to use that properly. Use a push stick if it's a table saw for sure. And definitely keep your fingers more than this far away from the blade. Because what happens is when that table saw is going, and you're pushing something, and if it catches the board a specific way, it will pull your finger in. Like if you're pushing down on the board, it doesn't matter that you're not pushing towards the blade. You're pushing down on the board and that board gets caught, it's going to bring your finger in. So I would advise if you don't have to use a table saw, don't use a table saw. If you do use a table saw, make sure you have make sure everything in it everything it has, make sure it's all in working order. Make sure it has a fence. If you don't know what a fence is, look that up. And you can we are starting a whole new topic, Desiree. We're going long tonight, guys. Okay, a fence is basically the part that you put the board up to. And you can hold it on there. On a chop saw, you can put it up to the fence and then hold it on the fence. Or I just got a new to me chop saw from a miter saw, actually, from a friend of mine. And he made this thing that hooks onto that and actually screws down so that can hold it. So you don't even have to hold it. And that is as safe as you can get. But with a chop saw or miter saw, circular saw, I saw Matt with Grafted Branch say, those I think are safer. You can always cut yourself. Do not cut yourself. But with a table saw, having a push stick, and you should look up how to make a push stick or buy a push stick if you don't have one. There's lots of different forms, all of that. But I do not want to come on here and read whatever that you're missing a digit or worse. That's all right. We're looking out for you. So it can and does cut through bone. It's not a fun endeavor. It's not a cheap endeavor. I don't know that's an endeavor at all, but we're watching out for you. So make sure you understand how to use that tool before you use it. Make sure it has a fence. Make sure you use a push stick and that you are conscious of everything you were doing at the time. Wear safety glasses. Any other recommendations for Desiree and her table saw other than get a chop saw or a circular saw? They are wonderful. You can use them for really great projects. I don't think you're going to need it for a coop project, but you can use it for that. So there we go. We're going to read some warnings here for you, Desiree. Okay. Verna says, my belated husband cut his thumb pad off. Anime says, table saw. Wish I had a chop saw. Grafted Branch says, good to know. Usually use a circular. Exactly. Circular saws are great. What's nice about having a chop saw or a miter saw is you can get different angles. You can get different. So miter saw, you can get different angles this way. Like you can turn it this way, and you can turn it this way and this way. So you can get all the angles you need. Yes. Yes. Matt says, geez, Verna. And if you remember Manuel, he cut through his knuckle and almost all the way off. Almost all the way off. Yeah, on Memorial Day. I remember that. Kind of ruined the day off. Anime says, we have a circular too, but we can't cut straight enough, so it causes problems. That's where a chop saw comes in handy. Yeah. He was old enough to know better, but young enough to care. Young enough not to care, probably, right, Verna? Yeah. Yeah, and Matt says, I understand that. 65 years old. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So Matt says, and the safety squint isn't the way to go. So for an example, I don't know, somebody tell me, like, I don't know if you don't have to, but like how many RPMs that blade is going. It's going fast. It's going super fast. If that takes part of the wood, not only can it pull your hand towards the blade, but it can kick back. It can flip things. And I mean, people have been hit in the eye, hit in the head by the board they're trying to cut. So definitely make sure you know what you're doing before you do that. And maybe if you have someone in your area that is fully knowledgeable about table saws, have them give you an in-person safety course, because but a safety training, because I think that will be worth it to you, especially if you haven't used one before. Safety squint. Yeah. Miter saw. Miter saw is the one that has the angles. Yeah. So like my miter saw that I just got, my brand new one. So you cut it like this, just like a chop saw, but then it can rotate this way. So here's the fence. This is the cutting side, right? And the fence has a hole in it, a slit in it where the blade goes down. But this is the side the wood goes on. So you put the wood up against it, and it's going like this, and you go like this, and it cuts right there. You can cut it at 90 degrees, which is a regular up and down cut. And then there's a thing you can adjust here, which you can cut at multiple angles this way or this way. And then you can also tilt it this way and this way, so you can get cuts like this or like this. So yeah, there's a lot of different angles you can do with a miter saw, and it is much safer than a table saw. To me, the only reason to use a table saw for me, for the things that I do, is if you were like ripping a board, which means you're cutting a board in half lengthwise, hot dog wise. I want a hot dog now. Isn't that weird? Who else wants hot dogs? Like a good one. Anyway, if you're ripping a board and it's long and you need it to be straight, you can rip a board with a skill saw. The circular saw is called a skill saw, the same thing. But that's something you can do. Now, a miter saw, you can also, there's something called a miter box, and these are not expensive. So it might be something you look into. It is not an electric one. But you could have a miter saw that is not electric. And I think the ones I've seen are always yellow. I don't know why. But there's like a plastic box like this big, and it has pre-cut locations. And usually it's just 90 and 45s, which covers most building that you're going to do. And it comes with a saw that's just a regular, man-powered, woman-powered saw. And so you basically put your material in there. It's made for like 2x4s or 4x4s or something like that. You put your material in there, you line up, you put it in, there's like a slot, you put it in the slot over here, and it's over here too. And you literally saw through that. Now that can be 90 degrees, it can be 45 degrees. There's some that have different preset kind of degrees that is common. So you can go that route, and those are not expensive at all. Like you can go to any of your hardware stores that are worth anything and get that. And that's a miter saw. It's the same thing. It's called a miter saw, but there's just an electric version that you do things faster in. I'm going off on a tangent, aren't we? Okay. Has all angles. Yeah. Steve says T-square works great with a hand skill saw. Yep. All right. Table saws typically operate between 3,450 and 5,000 RPM. You're not going to be able to stop that. Not even your finger will stop that. Guaranteed. Yeah. Yeah, and Verna has basically the same information. Yep. Matt says, I own a table saw I've never used. It was left on the property. If it was left on the property, I would say, if you ever plan to use it, you need to be sure that it has all its parts. Oftentimes the fence won't be there, or there's something loose. Like, you really need to look at it, because those are pretty expensive, and they would have taken it with them if it was an adequate saw, or maybe they just didn't have room. But I would thoroughly inspect that before you use it. Cautionary tale. Jesus turned. Steve says table saw has a fence. A chop saw has a stop. I did not know that's what it's called. I've always heard it as a fence, but it does the same thing. It stops. It's what you put the wood against. So yeah. All right. Anime says I'll get a miter chop saw. when I have that kind of money. Hey, you know what? Mine cost me $40 from a friend. They don't cost that new. I can tell you that. They cost a whole lot more. But you can often find those. And it's probably a good idea to find someone local to you that knows a lot about tools, and you'll know it because they'll want to talk about it like you want to talk about quail. Yeah, and they might be able to find you like something's good, or maybe able to borrow something or have someone cut something for you even, I would start there, say, maybe go on, I don't know, whatever's there next door or Craigslist or whatever, and say, hey, does anybody have this? I need to cut a few boards, and then know what your cut list is and do that. Um, and I mean, somebody might be able to cut it for you. Because once things are cut, you can put it together for sure. Yeah. I think I just heard something. Maybe not. Okay. Matt says I use that box. I didn't know what it was called. Yeah, it's a miter box. I think that's what it's called, but it's basically for it does the same thing. So I think miter must have been some guy's name because I don't know that it's a verb. But yeah, you can cut in different angles and it works just as well. Yeah. I'm listening. I don't it sounded like a cat scream. I just put out a camera at my neighbors. They've lost 2 goats. They don't know where they are. I have a camera on them right now, so I hope it wasn't one of my rabbits. I don't think it was. Sounded different. Okay. Anyway, big kitty cat is what I'm talking about. Hopefully not little kitty cat. Okay. Desiree says, I can't really go out. Don't know many people other than all of you and some artists. Hey, you can make friends. You made friends. You know what, Desiree? When I saw you at QuailCon, you were making friends, right? You can make friends just like that. Just like that. Or you can go to the hardware store and say, hey, do you guys do this? Because some hardware stores will do that for you. Sometimes you have to buy the wood that they cut, but some hardware stores will do that for you. Some won't. Oh, and that's exactly what Verna said. Most places like Home Depot will cut the wood if you have the measurements you need. Buy the wood for them. That's exactly what I just said. But you had it up there first. Yeah. So that's something to do too. And if they're willing to do it, I have no idea if it doesn't cost anything or if it costs something. I've never had them do it. I just know that they have that. Okay, we have definition. Google Swanson over here. The miter in miter box refers to the miter joint in woodworking, which is an angled joint that resembles the way the peaks of bishop's or pope's miter hat join together, which is not a last name. Actually, could be. What's a miter hat? It's probably named after someone named Miter. I have to go back to get to who it is. Interesting. I did not know that. Thank you for looking that up. We do think alike. Yeah, you have scrap wood you need to use up. Exactly. So when I did my aviaries, I used scrap wood. I think the only wood I bought was for the door and for the parts that go on the top. I think that was the only wood I bought. All the rest of it came off the side of the road. So, and some people say not to do that, and I'm like, it's free wood. Yeah. All right. The word miter comes from Greek mitra, meaning headband or turban. Okay. So it literally is about a shape, not a guy's name. Thank you, Steve. All right. Well, we took a tangent. It's almost 8:30. How are you guys doing? Did we answer questions? Do we very interesting. Exactly. See, this is what we this is what we do here. We figure out random things, right? Um, but yeah, Desiree, please be safe with whatever saw you end up using. And um, yeah, if you're waiting to save up on things, then I would say maybe try and find someone that is able to cut it for you. You might even look on, like, do you guys have Nextdoor where you are? It's like an online thing for your neighborhood. It's geographically centered, and you might find some fun people. Um, Go with a friend. No. Um, yeah, so hopefully all your digits will be retained. Verna, it can be. It can be. My dad is or was, I don't know, um, like a moderator for his local one. Yeah. And he had to like start telling people they couldn't say stuff. Some people treat it like their own Facebook, and it's not. But it's kind of like you can use it kind of like a classifieds for your area. But for like, hey, I'd like to sell this table, or hey, I'm looking for someone who has cutting ability, and all that. Yeah. How do you get quail chicks to stop digging in their water and soaked food? What do you have for their water? Yeah, that's what Steve, that's exactly what Verna was saying with different words. Yeah, keep food and water far enough away. So that's one. Two, I don't know what you're using for your waterer, but if you put like little pebbles or little marbles in with the water, not with the water, but in the trough, then they have to drink in between it. Then they can't splash it. And then another thing that you can try is raising it up higher and putting something under it so that can catch whatever they're getting out of. Yeah. Exactly what Steve is saying. Raise their water or food container. I use a small cereal bowl with the food water container to set inside. So yeah, it keeps the water from leaking into the pine shavings. We are all thinking alike here. Yeah. And Verna says I used to use a brick. Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I hope everybody's doing good. And Grafter Branch says I put a 2x4 piece under the water. Yeah, raising it up so that they if you put the water on the same level as where they're walking, they're just gonna walk on it. Like quail will walk on each other. Like when I had my aviary, they would just one would be laying there and it'd be like, "Oh, this is such a nice afternoon to lay in the sun. Let me just walk over this nice bird." Right? Like they would just walk over each other just because they're going straight. And they're like, "Eh, you can get walked on. Who cares?" And they're kind of ridiculous about that. So, you can definitely bet that if they can step on it, they will. So raise it up. I don't know. Was that a good portrayal? Those of you that have aviaries, or I don't know if they do it in the cages or not, but they definitely do it in the aviaries. It's really funny. It's ridiculous. Quail are ridiculous in a good way. So. All right, guys, it is 8:30. I need to upload the video for tomorrow. I need to watch it through because I think I put in there every Monday. And if I put it in there, not every Monday, every Monday at 6 for the live. And if next Monday is not the Monday, people are going to get confused. So I need to make sure that if I set it in there, I will update it before I do that. All right. Steve says they can easily jump even as newly hatched chick. Yep. Notice how they jump out of an incubator. Absolutely. Because they need to be ready to go. Avoid predators. Desiree said, currently using some jug caps since these guys are smaller than the ones I've hatched before, and the bottom end of a container that's lifted off the ground. Okay. Yeah, popcorn. Yeah, so that's probably why, is because that the surface area of the water is big enough that they can splash. So if you keep the surface area of the water smaller, then they won't have that splashability. So one way to do that is to put something in there. So put pebbles or marbles or something so that they can still reach the water, but they can't like be in it. And then I would raise it up. And then if they're still splashing, you can put like a shallow dish under there, or like a peanut butter jar lid or something like that that has a rim, because they're not going to be they're hopefully not going to be splashing that much, but once water gets into the shavings, then it will just, it just sucks into the rest of it. So yeah. All right, guys. I am gonna head out. We had a good conversation. Thanks for coming to the live chat. And a reminder, next week we're doing Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific time. And we'll be talking about some other things. So I hope you guys have a good week. I will make Thursdays early morning be a so Thursday's video is going to be a premiere, so I'll be up 6 o'clock in the morning. That's when my videos go out, 6 o'clock in the morning here, Pacific time. But that's, I think, going to be worth looking at. You don't have to make it to the premiere, but I'll be in the chat for that. And man, I gotta set my alarm now, Verna. All right. Nat says, have a good evening, all. Thanks. You're welcome. Thanks for dropping your stuff and coming over and bringing people. My goodness. My goodness. I appreciate it. So I hope you guys had fun. I hope everybody is safe. Desiree, you better have all fingers when you come back. And we will see you next week at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Thursday. So usually on Monday, next week is going to be Thursday. But before that, this Thursday, I will have a premiere for that video, 6 a.m. Pacific time. And we'll see you then. So thanks for coming. And I hope you guys are, what morning? Thursday. This Thursday morning, 6 a.m. Pacific time. That is 9 a.m. Verna's time. AM. I'm gonna do a premiere, and I'll be on the typity while you guys hopefully watch that. If it's too early, I understand. It's too early for me, but that's when my videos come out, so that's when it's gonna happen. All right, we will talk to you later, and have a wonderful week. Thanks for watching.